welcome to Dot Sports, a place where a long-haired bloke likes to have a yarn about sports. We've finally made it. We've made it all the way to the end of the Rugby League season. I can't believe it's here. And honestly, finals footy, it absolutely sucks. And for that, it's because we've only got a few more weeks to go. It's been a really long season in saying that, but yeah, it hurts. We've only got, 4 more weeks essentially all the way to the grand final. Rest in peace to the Thursday night games. It really hurts me not having those as well. They kind of keep you going throughout the week. It's that little taste before the weekend, that little something just to keep you kicking all the way through to Friday. So pretty rough not having those. Our first game this week is on the Friday. But before we get into all that as well, make sure you do like, subscribe, give all the socials a follow. All the links to all that is going to be in the bio as well. So close to hitting, 400 subscribers at this point. So make sure you go hit subscribe like I was saying. Really appreciate the support and help throughout this season. Instagram, go give that a follow as well. Really trying to grow that at the moment. TikTok's going well though. It's got about 2,500 followers, but give them all the follow. Give Dot Sports the support. Love to see it. Now, my player of the week, we went over that, posted that a little bit earlier in the week, but that was none other than James Tedesco. He is just in crazy form as well. I'd honestly say that it's probably him and Jerome Hughes. They're really the two that would be in the running for the Daily M at this stage. Tommy Trbojevic and Nathan Cleary, they could be somewhat dark horses as well. I saw somebody say Scotty Drinkwater the other day. I think he could potentially be up there as well. But we'll have to see how it all works out. At this stage, I would say that Jerome Hughes should be winning it. It'd be insane. There will be riots on the street if he doesn't win it. But Teddy, he ran for 222 metres. He had 2 tries, 2 try assists. He was just everywhere. They didn't absolutely go out there and pump Rabbitohs like a lot of people maybe thought they did. But with a lot of those key guys out, with Cheese, Sam Walker, even Victor the Inflictor being out, he kind of went, boys, follow me, jump on my back. And they just got around it. So, yeah, Teddy, he's my player of the week. I was so close to giving it to Jerome Hughes, but he had it a few weeks ago, so Teddy's got to get a bit of love as well. Before we jump into everything, just a little recap of tipping and how the results went for round 27. So, pretty woeful round when it came to tipping. Went 4 for 8 for the final round. So, my Broncos, they got absolutely fisted 50-12. Now, I did tip the Broncos. I'm always going to tip the Broncos. I don't care who they're playing or what form they're in. But did I know that game was coming? Yeah, absolutely. I think pretty much every single person did. There's a strange world out there that the Broncos managed to get that done, but yeah, not after the last few weeks, not how things have been going. Not even really necessarily about the players that were missing. I kind of just knew, the bets that I put on for that game, I just threw darts at the Melbourne Storm team, just knowing that there was going to be bulk try scorers. And yeah, they went out and did that. There was 2 hat-tricks in that game. Just about every other person scored. Insane. Wasn't a fun watch, but at the same time kind of was, because it was a try-fest. So yeah, it is what it is. So Spoon Bowl, that tick, at least for tipping wise. So Eels, they absolutely punished 60-26 against the Tigers. Apparently Gutho was a bench, essentially just a mummy running around out there. Apparently he's got broken ribs, torn quads, all these other injuries. It's just insane. I cannot, I've had bruised ribs before. And that was super painful, just getting out of bed, even breathing. Someone made you laugh and it bloody hurt, let alone playing with broken or cracked ribs. I cannot imagine someone just smashing you in a tackle. It would just be the worst and most painful thing ever. Roosters, they get it done 36-28. Mark Nwanga Itawase, he scored with his first touch of the footy, which was super impressive. I only kind of had one eye really on that game when it was going. I think, honestly, I might have been in the bath, so making sure I didn't drop my phone in there. But, he seemed to go all right. Obviously, he's got a long way to go as well. But, yeah, he's a big sucker. And from all reports, it sounds like he might be the best jumper out of every single person in that team, even over Tupu, over Dom Young, all those guys saying that he's got the best leap on him. So that's a pretty scary thing to be adding into that backline. I could definitely see a world where he is slotted into that team next year. Big Milk, they get it done, back them as well. So they beat the Dragons 26-24. Big Red, Corey Horsburgh, absolute game winner. He managed to put a nice little grubber in, a little chip and chase for himself, collected it again, bounced off somebody else, crossed the line. I'm so sad he's not coming to Broncos at this point. Cows, they flogged the Doggies 44-6. I backed the Dogs in that one. Man, Cowboys, they're just weird. I don't know what to say about them. Penrith, they got a close win over the Titans, 18-12. I didn't expect that to be as close as that, but at the same time, knew that Titans, if given the opportunity, can put on points very quickly. They got a lot of strike as well, so yeah, kind of plays out that way. Sharks, they touched up Manly 40-20. Ouch. Yeah, that's a rough one. Another team, similar to Cowboys, Sharks, I don't really get around a whole lot. They are so inconsistent. You know, you're going to get that Sharks team that absolutely touches up Manly, but then they're going to get beaten by like the fucking Tigers or something like that next week. Well, obviously not next week, but you know what I mean. And then the Knights, they beat the Dolphins 14-6 in a very controversial game. I didn't actually get to see that one live. Obviously, I've seen the replay of the obstruction, or the so-called obstruction call. KP, he absolutely killed it as well. And Wayne Bennett with the classic blow up towards the bunker afterwards. But yeah, very unfortunate. Yeah, definitely don't want to be seeing things like that happen in these last couple of weeks in the finals. But yeah, bit of a sus one there. Now, is Regan Campbell-Gillard what the Broncos need going into the 2025 season? Big RCG, big Reg, he is free from the Eels. They've already said their goodbyes. I think he got their player of the year or something like that the other day, but I'd love to see him come up in Brisbane and play. I said it when I was talking about Corey Horsburgh. We really need that kind of enforcer, big body, bit of aggression type of forward. Yeah, he's a little bit older. Sure, that's fine. He's 31. I think he's looking for a couple more years. The Broncos, I think they really need a guy like that. He's played on every single platform possible. Obviously, great success through club. He's played State of Origin. He's played international football. He's been there. He's done it all. And I think that type of leadership in the club would just go so well, especially a massive body like that could really get things moving forward. He runs with purpose, great offload on him. My only thing as well is he would just legally in his contract have to sign that he's not going to get rid of that mo. That is a mo of consequence, and we've seen him without it, and I'm pretty sure that's when the Eels season went downhill. He needs to keep that. I love as well that he's just tattered within an inch of his life as well. And he likes to throw them. He's done a few boxing bouts and things like that. I thought, what was it, in the off-season, he fought Jason Tomalolo. So yeah, that's the guy that we need. I'd love to see him and potentially one more forward be signed for the Broncos. Now, keep in mind, we've got amazing players coming through the Broncos system as well. I do like Jaden Hunt. I do think he's back row, obviously, but I think he's quite good. Ben Takura, he is so young and just doesn't have that time yet in the first grade. Xavier Willinson, this was a real breakout year for him. He played amazing. He's only going to get better and better, but it can't hurt to just have another experienced, player in there in the team. And I think that potentially goes, it's kind of hard. It's harder, obviously, to sign an older player. You're not going to sign an older player in the back line. But a lot of these guys, they are very, very young. And this season really was their breakout season, like your Dean Mariners, players like that, even your Brendan Piakura. They're just super young to the game at this stage. I think they need that season or two to really get going. You can even look at that a few seasons ago when Suan Cobbo first broke out on the scene. I think the first season, I was looking it up today, he played something like 7 games. Or no, it might have been 12. 12 games, I think it was 7 tries. Whatever it might have been. But, he wasn't to the point where he's at now, where he's playing rep footy, everything like that. Obviously, last season absolutely killed it. He's had a reasonably good season, a couple ups and downs and whatever else going on with him. But, RCG, big Reg, another Reg, and another classic Reg will be Reg Reagan. Get him in there, he'd be great. It'll be very interesting to see where he goes. I'm sure he's got a few options as well, but Broncos, especially missing out on Corey Horsburgh, yeah, I think he's an easy choice. He'd be great. Now, is the Bulldogs season over already? They have had a lot going on, all the drama obviously in the last few days with the Fox and not the best form over the last few weeks. It would be definitely concerning if you're a Bulldogs fan. It would be very sus. I'm starting to think, did they potentially peak a little bit too early in the lead up to these finals? Because I guess a big part about finals footy, and I guess what a lot of these top teams do well, your Melbourne Storm, your Penrith Panthers, Sydney Roosters, guys like that, they time their run perfectly into the finals. They might not be playing their absolute best footy a couple weeks out. And I guess an example of that at the moment would probably be your Penrith Panthers. Yeah, Storm, they're going on and just flogging teams, but at the same time, they're playing teams like the Broncos. As much as I love my Broncos, we're not exactly the best measuring stick at this point on where a team's at and how they're going. Penrith as well, yeah, sure, I guess they're not exactly playing the best teams and not having these massive margins. They're missing Nathan Cleary, arguably, if not the best player in the game and has been for the last few seasons. So that's a massive out. But those teams, they just manage to time it perfectly and it all comes together when it counts. And don't get me wrong, that could potentially happen for the Bulldogs, but for a team that is not experienced in the finals and hasn't made it that far in 10 years, it is a little bit tricky, especially then having to play against a team like Manly that pumped them a couple rounds ago as well. They're going to have that burnt in right there. And sure, I guess once again, they were missing players and have been missing players the last few weeks. I think Burton was a massive out for them as well. I've got a mate of mine that is a diehard Bulldogs fan and he just shakes his head every time Hutcho goes out there. With all due respect, probably not their best half choice that they've got laying around. He pretty much is just like, yep, if he plays, we lose. It's as simple as that. And Birdo definitely has an impact on that. But as well, I think something that is going to definitely impact everything is what's going on with the Fox at the moment. Obviously, Gus, Fox, the club, all of them are dealing with that at the moment. I don't really want to jump, honestly, too far into that particular, those circumstances, everything going on with him. But I just think it might be shaking up the player group a little bit as well. You've had Crichton out, you've had Burton out, and then Fox, a guy that has been there before this kind of rebuild or was one of the marquee signings for this rebuild, he would have so much respect from some of the younger players, really leading the way with his experience. He's been there, done that, like I was saying about a few of these other players. So missing him in these bigger games where he could really lift up a team, I think that's where he's going to be most missed. And obviously he's a freak out there on the field as well. Sure, they've got Stephen Crichton and other guys that have been there as well, but for a team that just hasn't made it this far before, I think guys like that are really, really going to be valuable in the team as well. So hopefully it's not causing those boys too much head noise. I'm sure they're going to be pushing super hard into this game, but they've got a tough task, I think, up against Manly. It's going to be really interesting, but hopefully it doesn't throw a massive spanner in the whole Bulldogs prophecy thing where they make the finals every 10 years, last being 2014, won it in 2004, and so on and so on. It's going to be a tough one, but it'd be hilarious if it does come off. And whoever said that the Doggies were going to be in the top 8 and put money on that, you'd be cashing that in. Alrighty, so that jumps into finals week 1. So up first on the Friday night, we've got Penrith Panthers versus Sydney Roosters. I'm just going to go Penrith 1-12 in this one. Their record against the Roosters is insane. I think it's going to be really tough for the Roosters. They are missing, like I mentioned earlier, massive, massive players. No Walker, no Cheese. I don't think Victor Radley's not playing. That psycho's trying to play with like a broken collarbone or whatever he did. It's just going to be hard. Penrith have done it a million times. They're getting Nathan Cleary back into the team as well. Where he's at's going to be a little bit hard to tell. There's no way he's at 100%. Most players aren't going to be, obviously, at this stage, but how likely is that going to be a re-injury? Are we going to see him playing a little bit like Luai last year, where he was really protected, not really able to play his full game? It's going to be interesting. I think they've already confirmed that he's going to be going in for surgery at the end of the season as well. So obviously there's some serious damage in there, but we'll see how that goes. I think that's 3 services this year for Nathan Cleary. I was speaking earlier in the year that pretty much every single year Nathan has his little mid-season service and then they go on to win the title. So I think it was, it would have been 2020. He didn't have any sort of injuries, played all the way through to the finals. They lost to Storm. 2021, I think it was injury. 2022 might have been suspension or shoulder. It was one of those ones. 2023 injury again, and look at all those years. They went ahead and won all those as well. So we'll see how that goes. I just think it's going to be too many outs for the Roosters at this stage, and I think that hoodoo as well just kind of will be wavering over their head. It's going to be a bit tricky task going into that game knowing that you've won, 1 out of the last 20 against a combined Storm and Penrith team. Pretty hard indeed. So in saying that, I'm going to go my anytime try scorer for this game with Taruva. He loves to score a try against the Roosters. He's scored quite a few in the last couple games he's played. I think he's going to cross for a 4-pointer. Next game, Storm versus Sharks all the way down in Amy Park. I'm going to go with a big scoreline on this one, and I'm going to say Storm are going to win 13+ as well. They went ahead and punished my Broncos last week. Again, not the biggest measuring stick of all time when it comes to that, but they just look unstoppable at the moment. If you ask any person, I was asking a few of the boys that I played futsal with last night that play a little bit of, watch footy as well, just who do you think's going to win, who do you think's going to win? It's just storm, 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 storm. Betting favourites, minor premiers, it'd be hard to say anyone else really at this stage besides Penrith. I think Penrith is probably the only team that could realistically compete with them. If you look historically, maybe a Manly team, but I don't think the current era, that's probably not going to happen as well. But yeah, I'm going to go Storm 13 plus. Perhaps he's back into the side as well with Suo Falongo out injured. I think that was a little bit of a doozy for them. I think they probably would have played Suo Falongo moving forward into this week just to give Paps a little bit more time to rest, but obviously he's healed enough to be up and running as well. Hughes, he's just killing it. Absolute machine. If he plays, what am I talking about? If he plays anything like last week, he's been that consistent, that hot, and absolutely just killing it. He's just going to go on a run. So, yeah, have fun trying to stop him as well. Nicho Hynes, he's back, but he's been out injured. Their halves have been out for a while. Didn't really slow them down last week, but I still think could be a little bit tricky. And unfortunately, the Sharks and Nicho do not have the best history when it comes to these big games. I personally think Sharks are going to get bounced out in straight sets. They have done for every year for the last however long. Nicho Hynes as well, he's a dude that lives very much with his emotions on his sleeve, and I think these bigger games fuck with him a little bit. That's something that could go away in the future, and he might make me absolutely eat my words and absolutely kill it and Storm lose, Sharks beat him again down in Amy Park. But it's going to be a tough task. It's always going to be hard for a team like that to go down and play in Melbourne, especially Melbourne. They're just freaks when it comes to making finals, playing in finals footy. It's just, I can't imagine being a Storm fan. It'd be so fucking easy. Just sit back. You pretty much expect your team to win every single week. They've lost a handful of games. They win minor prem every other year. It's pretty much only been Penrith and Roosters in the last couple of years that's really put a spanner in the works. But they're freaks. I'm going to go with Will Warbrick to cross anytime as well. Next one. Cowboys versus Knights. I'm going to back the Cows 1-12. Big part of that is because they've got the home ground advantage. I don't really want to be backing the Cowboys, but I don't particularly like the Knights either. These are two teams that I really don't have much attachment, if any at all. But yeah, Cows 1-12. Kalen Ponga, he is the key to this game for the Knights. And I think if the Cowboys can manage to shut him down, easier said than done, obviously. That's like a Reece Walsh, whoever else. Yeah, just shut them down. But in a way it is, because I don't think the Dolphins did the best job from what I saw actually shutting him down. They kind of allowed him to play his game and implement his game upon them, and that's when he's really going to take a grip of the game and just turn it on its head. So if they can get a hold of him, they're a long way to getting that game done. I think they got a lot more talent across the park. The Cowboys are always going to be hard to beat up there as well. Tommy Dearden, he is absolutely built for these games as well. Plays massive in Origin, any sort of big game. He just steps up to another level, so I can see him absolutely killing it. They have been on fire on their edges in particular recently. Kyle Felt just scores a million tries. Hillam Lukey is just in an absolute stride at this point as well. So, yeah, I think they're going to be pretty tough. I am going to go with Kyle Felt to score anytime. If not, he'll probably score a bloody hat-trick. Who knows with him. Last one. Big game. Bulldogs versus the Manly Seagulls. I'm going to be standing on business here. A few weeks ago, I went out and I said when the Broncos get knocked out, I'm going to be all on the doggies, bro. So I got to back the doggies. I'm going to go 1-12. Like I said before, Burton, he's back in as well. That's a massive in for them. And Tommy Bra, he comes back in for Manly. Their win percentage increases something insane when Tommy Turbo's playing. Burton back in there as well, just links up everything. I think it was the commentators, they kind of shitting on Hutcho last week, just going, if Burton was there, he would have actually been able to run on and catch that. And just little things that Burton can do. But yeah, he's been having an amazing season. I think he's going to be a big part if they do move forward as well with his experience, everything that he got with the Penrith Panthers moving through those finals series. I think he's going to be able to bring a lot of wisdom to the team moving forward. But neither of these teams have been overly amazing in the last few weeks. A little bit disappointed. I've been backing both of them week in, week out, I guess. And Yeah, it's not too good, but, if we're going off history, recent history, Manly absolutely touched up the Bulldogs, and I'd say they're in worse form. I think it was even Willie Mason was coming out saying that Bulldogs are probably in the worst form at the moment out of that top 8 squad. So yeah, no, I think it's going to be a tough game. One thing that is going to be on Bulldogs' side, which hasn't exactly worked out great for the last few weeks, has been their home ground record this year. I think they've gone 2 losses in a row over the last few weeks at home, but I'm still banking on that. They have been very hard to beat. It's probably going to be sold out. Their fan base is going to be absolute psychos in the best way possible. And if they win that, I cannot imagine what the streets are going to look like if the Doggies get up. I was thinking about this the other day as well. In comparison, so you kind of got your bandwagon team. So last year, obviously it's the Wars. I'd say people have somewhat been bandwagoning Penrith over the last few years just because they've been winning as well. But Warriors last year, 100%, that was the bandwagon team. And it was insane what they managed to achieve with a whole country behind them. Bulldogs, I guess on a smaller scale, but a bigger club in a way. Everyone's jumping on board. But I just don't think it has the same movement as the Warriors last year. Like, everyone started to believe. If your team wasn't in the finals, you were going for the Warriors. Even if your team was in the finals, you wanted the Warriors to go well. Up the Wars was just insane. You had bloody telecommunication companies, I think it was like Vodafone or whoever it was, or no, not Vodafone, that's their old sponsor, One New Zealand, changing their thing to Up the Wars at the top of the phone. It was just everywhere. It was amazing. Doggies, they have absolutely turned it up this year as well, but it hasn't been to that extent, I don't think. But in saying that, I'm going to go with Connor Tracy to score anytime. He's been a lead at fullback. I think he's going to go well. But tip of the week, I'm going to go with the Prince, Nathan Cleary. He's going to cross it for a 4-pointer and slot the goal as well. I think you've got to get on him while he's hot. I'm going to go with Jerome Hughes to cross anytime for 4 rugby league points, and he's just going to continue to dominate. Tommy Dearden, like I said, he's made for these games. His running game is absolutely elite, and he's going to be breaking through the line for a 4-pointer. And my old trusty, old faithful Tommy Bra, he's going to cross the line, no doubt at all, against the Doggies. If you add all those in, I didn't even get the odds. It's going to be a heap. Jump on them all. Actually, probably won't be a heap, but jump on that. That's the tip of the week. And one more thing that I did want to try to bring in, I might cut this out, who knows, but design of the week. So I quite like the graphic design that the teams and the way that a lot of the teams are moving forward with this, putting a lot of effort into that. I think it really builds a brand, builds a look for a team, makes you feel, especially like if you look at a team like the Warriors, they've done it especially well this season. But my design of the week is not actually directly from a team, but it's by a designer called Caesar's Palace. So he does a lot of work for Channel 9 as well as the Canberra Raiders. I liked his design for the Broncos Storm game. Hurts me to say that, obviously, because of the outcome, but it just looks elite. Go suss it out. I'll link that. I'll probably post it as well, maybe. I might not post it. Might not post it, but I'll have it pop up in the video. So, yeah, get around that. Here we are. We're all the way through to finals week 1. Let me know in the comments who you're going to be backing as well. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all that sort of fun stuff. Hope you enjoyed, guys. I'll see you next week. Have a good one.